The film begins with a young man named Tendo Akira. He was super excited because it was his first day at work. Akira had always dreamed of working at a cool company called Master Shot. Master Shot was a company that made TV ads. At that time, Akira wanted to work there because they had a good reputation and paid well. When he got to the office, he introduced himself to the other employees as the new guy. He couldn't hide his excitement about starting his new job. During his first day, Akira got to know Mr. Kosugi, who was the team leader and his boss. He also met a woman named Mrs. Otori, who worked as a producer in the company. However, Akira was taken aback because he instantly fell for Mrs. Otori. She was so friendly and nice to him, and he couldn't help but develop feelings for her from the very start. Fortunately, Akira's work environment seemed comfy, and on his very first day, the production team even took him out to dinner to welcome him. But then things took a disappointing turn when Mr. Kosugi dropped the bombshell that he had to work overtime right after the welcoming party. Akira was shocked to find out the dark side of the Master Shot Company, where employees were expected to work overtime without any rest. For 2 days straight, he toiled away without going back home. To make matters worse, the office had some seniority issues that made the situation even harder. Poor Akira, as a new employee, was just treated as a helper and had to do the tasks of more experienced employees. It was tough to face the harsh reality of working in a big company like Master Shot. The reason they paid high salaries became apparent because it matched the demanding workload they placed on their employees. Although he felt sorry about the situation, Akira couldn't just quit. He had worked so hard to get accepted into the company, so he tried his best to endure it all. As time passed, his mental and physical health suffered, but he held on at Master Shot for a whole year. Sadly, Akira's life at the office was rough. He ended up sleeping and eating there, not going home for days. It got so bad that he felt like giving up and even thought about doing something drastic. He just wanted to be free and not burdened by work. He wished he could do things his way for a change. One night, he bumped into his old buddy Kensho, who they used to play football with back in high school. Akira invited Kensho because he had a good job but still had plenty of time for fun and dating. Kensho advised Akira to quit his job at Master Shot, saying he was just being used like a slave by his boss and seniors. Unfortunately, those words didn't sit well with Akira. He was drunk at the time and ended up calling Kensho a coward, remembering how they lost in the final round of their school's football team because of Kensho's fear and doubts. As time passed, Akira kept on working like usual. But one morning, his phone alarm jolted him awake. He struggled to get out of bed and prepare for work. At that time, his house was a complete mess since he had no time to clean it. He looked tired and worn out, yet he forced himself to go to work. Downstairs, something strange awaited him. The guy who used to sweep the place had turned into a zombie and was attacking a woman. Akira was shocked and ran for his life. But it didn't end there because the whole apartment building was crawling with zombies, chasing after him. Fortunately, he managed to escape to the rooftop and realized that the zombie outbreak was terrifying, but it had one silver lining that he didn't have to work anymore and could do whatever he pleased. Believe it or not, Akira found a positive side to the zombie apocalypse. He thought the real world at the company was even scarier than the zombies. The first person he reached out to was Mrs. Otori, the woman he had liked for a long time. To his surprise, she was still alive but trapped in a hotel. Filled with excitement, Akira set out to save Mrs. Otori, the one he had admired for so long. Then, as Akira made his way down through the water pipe, he came across a married couple, Mikio and Sumire, who were expecting a baby. They were trapped in an apartment, so Akira offered to help them out. He promised to bring them instant noodles and fruit. With determination, Akira hopped on his bike and skillfully maneuvered past the zombies on the street. Long story short, Akira finally reached the hotel where Mrs. Otori was supposed to be. As he entered the hotel room, he found her frightened and trembling. But there was a surprise because turns out she wasn't alone. The CEO of Master Shot Company, now a zombie, was in the room too. Without hesitation, Akira stepped up to protect Mrs. Otori from the zombie threat. At that time, Akira, a former football player, used his experience to defeat the zombie. Sadly, Mrs. Otori, who got bitten by the zombie CEO Master Shot Company, turned into a zombie herself. Despite his reluctance, Akira had to leave her. Before parting ways, he finally confessed his long-held feelings to her. Feeling sad and disappointed, Akira didn't want to waste his life. When he returned to his apartment, he couldn't find Sumire and Mikio there. The messy and bloody condition of the place made him think they might have become zombies too. Back in his apartment, Akira decided to make 100 bucket lists or wishes to fulfill before turning into a zombie himself. Writing down the list made him even more excited to live the life he had always dreamed of. He started by cleaning the room, buying food without checking the price, dyeing his hair, and making a picture of himself on a building's glass. He even set off firecrackers at Tokyo Tower. Throughout these adventures, Akira faced zombies, but he remained happy and determined. On the 5th day, Akira had to head to the nearest convenience store because he ran out of spices. While he was there, he met a woman named Shizuka who was still alive but struggling to survive. Unlike Akira, she had her own ways to protect herself. Soon after, Shizuka shared some valuable information with Akira that zombies are sensitive to sound. However, Shizuka got annoyed with Akira because he was trying to save someone he didn't even know, which she thought was dangerous. She told him that in such situations, he should avoid risks and, most importantly, prioritize himself over others. And because of this disagreement, Shizuka decided to part ways with Akira. She believed that teaming up with him would only make things more difficult for her. Later on, Akira returned home and suddenly thought about Kensho. They had a recent argument during their last meeting, so Akira decided to find Kensho and apologize. He got in touch with Kensho, who was still alive but trapped in a love hotel. Shortly after, Akira quickly put on an American football suit, hopped on a motorbike he found, and rushed to the love hotel to rescue Kensho. Bravely, Akira pushed through the group of zombies blocking his way. To distract the zombies, he turned on loud music to make it easier to get past them. After a tough struggle, Akira successfully saved Kensho and brought him to safety. That night, Kensho and Akira made up and celebrated at a fancy restaurant. Then, Kensho thanked Akira and even suggested that someone like him could save everyone from the zombie outbreak. This sparked an idea in Akira's mind, since he could fulfill his childhood dream of becoming a superhero who saves many people. The next day, Akira and Kensho decided to head to the aquarium marine paradise in Ibaraki. Akira explained that before the zombie outbreak, the Master Shot Company had designed a shark suit to protect people from shark bites. He believed that if the suit worked against sharks, it could also protect them from zombie bites. On their way there, they noticed a stopped bus with some survivors inside, including Shizuka. Sadly, they couldn't save everyone on the bus. Only 2 flight attendants, the bus driver and Shizuka, managed to escape the pursuing zombies. Then the bus driver mentioned that they were heading to Aquarium Marine Paradise because they heard it had enough food and safety for survivors. But what they didn't know was that the bus driver himself had been bitten by a zombie. Despite being bitten, he tried to hide the wound from the others. After some time, the bus driver turned into a zombie and attacked the 2 flight attendants who were with them. Now, Akira, Kensho, and Shizuka were in a tough spot, surrounded by 3 zombies. Fortunately, they worked together and managed to escape from the danger. Phew. Soon after, they continued their journey to the Aquarium Marine Paradise using a van. During the long ride, they bonded and had a lot of fun. They did all sorts of exciting activities, like enjoying the river, trying out paragliding, and even relaxing in hot springs. On the 10th day, since the zombie outbreak began, they finally reached the Marine Paradise Aquarium. However, their car got into an accident because someone had deliberately placed nails at the entrance. When Akira regained his senses after the crash, he was shocked to see Mr. Kosugi right in front of him. What a surprise! There, Mr. Kosugi had an interesting story to share. Before the zombie outbreak, he and some Master Shot employees were shooting an advertisement at the closed aquarium. Since they were inside when it all started, they survived by eating the fish in the aquarium. After that, Mr. Kosugi invited other survivors to join them at the aquarium. But here's the catch. Turns out, Mr. Kosugi had ulterior motives. He made the survivors into his slaves, forcing them to prepare food and cater to his needs. He promised them safety, but in reality, they couldn't refuse his orders and had to obey him without question. To make things worse, he had some zombies locked up to use as a punishment for those who disobeyed him. Every now and then, Mr. Kosugi sent a team outside to search for food and supplies. It was during one of these missions that Akira finally reunited with Sumire and Mikio, who had asked for his help before. But now, Akira felt the painful reality of being an employee or slave under Mr. Kosugi's rule. Seeing this, Kencho and Shizuka wanted to help Akira gather the courage to stand up against Mr. Kosugi. But Mikio stopped them, warning that resisting would lead to dire consequences as they would be handed over to the zombies. The following day, one of the team members who went searching for food accidentally brought a zombie back to the aquarium area. Suddenly, chaos ensued as the zombies wreaked havoc. At that time, Kencho and Shizuka urged Akira to escape from there. At first, he hesitated because he didn't want his friends in danger, but Shizuka made him realize the importance of leaving. Soon enough, they noticed zombies attacking the place. Kencho and Shizuka quickly guided the survivors to hide in a room. To their surprise, they found Mr. Kosugi hiding there too. However, Kencho was furious with him for abandoning his employees since he was their leader. Surprisingly, a zombie shark emerged from the aquarium. They initially thought it couldn't chase them on land, but it mutated, growing legs that allowed it to catch up. At that time, everyone panicked and followed Akira's lead, taking refuge in a room. However, Akira noticed that Mr. Kosugi was still outside and decided to rescue him. Before he left, Kencho advised Akira to wear a shark bite protection costume, so he'd be safe from both shark and zombie bites. Akira also put on a superhero costume made by Master Shot. He bravely fought the shark to save Mr. Kosugi, but the creature was strong and overwhelmed him. Thankfully, Kencho came to Akira's aid, allowing them to escape. They found Mr. Kosugi surrounded by zombies, and he once again sacrificed Akira to save himself. But thanks to the protective costume, Akira survived the multiple zombie bites without injury. Meanwhile, Kencho also escaped from the zombie shark by trapping it in a wall with a hole. Then Shizuka showed up with 2 loudspeakers and used them to lure the zombies into the aquarium. They thought they had won, but the zombie shark broke free and attacked Mr. Kosugi. Without hesitation, Akira bravely fought against the shark. Shizuka had an idea to defeat it by giving an electric shock to its weak point, located in its head. Shortly after, Kencho took charge of throwing an electric shock device to Akira, who could then hit the shark in the head with the battery. This reminded them of their past defeat in football due to Kencho's hesitation in throwing the ball. But Akira encouraged Kencho, helping him overcome his fears and doubts. Finally, Kencho threw the device at Akira, and together they stunned the shark. Thanks to their teamwork, Akira managed to take control of the situation. After they successfully defeated the zombies, Akira and the other survivors divided all the remaining supplies. Then they made a decision to go their separate ways and find a safe place where they wouldn't have to follow anyone's orders. Nobody wanted to join Mr. Kosugi, so he was left all alone. The film concludes by showing Akira, Kencho, and Shizuka ticking off items from their bucket list and getting ready to fulfill all their dreams together. And that's how the film ends. The moral lesson from this film is if a zombie apocalypse happens, it's not all bad because you can finally live your dreams and be a superhero.